Well. Oh, yes. We are back for some Bleach Soul Resonance. And by the way, you guys showed out super duper hard on the previous video, which I am always very grateful for. I didn't expect that kind of, I don't know, you know, sometimes when you just are answering questions, you're just like, what am I gonna make for a video today? And you're just like, let's just field a question from online and, you know, talk about it. I don't really expect anything, but you guys showed out super big, and I am grateful. I say it all the time, though I'm not always down there in the comments typing. I do give them a look through, so thank you to anyone who commented. Thank you for anyone who liked the video. And yeah, let's get into this one. So we are officially 8 days and 4 hours away from White Ichigo. I mean, White Ichigo literally got revealed. We have a picture of him, like, getting ready to pop, getting ready to show us who the new best character in Bleach Soul Resonance is. Remember that I always say, if you are a tactics character, if you are this girl right here, or this girl right here, or this guy right here, though, to some of you out there, and I respect you for that, Aizen might be your baby girl as well. You are probably one of, if not the best character in the game. The only difference I'd say right now for B0 and B0 to B2 players, so the free to play to low spending range, is that I think Mayuri just has an insane amount of bang for your buck. And I might be doing a little bit of a preamble before we actually field questions from the weekly mega thread. I know I've gotten the title of this, a weekly mega threads video, but I do just want to say that the way in which Mayuri just dominates, and like, even I could even say that Mayuri goes here when like White Ichigo comes out, because we don't know White Ichigo's, like, you know, function. What'll probably end up happening is it's gonna be this plus, like, you know, let's just say this is White Ichigo, or, you know, something like this and we switch them. But let's just say for now this will be it. There's a possibility, there is a world out there where it's this, and that is why I say Mayuri, it just ends up being like the best character in the game to me. But if anyone was like, no, it's Aizen, no, it's Nalel, I'm not arguing really either. I think you know, this is all just to say, man, those supports are pretty good, right? The sub DPSs are pretty good. No shocker there. So big video yesterday, and big things coming in about 8 days to buff Kenpachi and possibly buff White Ichigo, or Bankai Ichigo, who I have here. I don't have his weapon, but I am interested in pulling for that. I also do not have his core stamp, I believe. I do not have his core stamp, so that would be another thing that I need to sneak out during his release. But like I said, if you're a free-to-play player, if you're a low-spending player, one of the things you can rely on, like I said in the video yesterday, is that you don't need to pull everything with your free-to-play Jade like I am. You know, like, always having to get one character, maybe even always having to get one dupe to showcase and stuff like that, and trying to make sure we stay relatively free-to-play, only really using the monthly. So it's definitely one of those things where, you know, there's an incentive for me, and whereas you can be like, okay, White Ichigo's coming out, I want White Ichigo, I want a dupe of White Ichigo, and I want to get my Bankai Ichigo up to snuff. I want to get him, you know, core stamp, and I want to get him, you know, his weapon stamp, and I want to get him the best gear, and I don't want anything slacking. And, you know, I would be like, yeah, just focus on that. Skip a character. Skip another character. You know, don't worry about building another character. Just build your White Ichigo and build your Bankai Ichigo. But I digress. You know, this is of course a gacha, and we all want the characters. So let us get in to the actual main event of this video, which is some of these questions. I'm going to go field them from the weekly mega thread, and we can see which ones, you know, spark my interest. So of course, thank you to Comprehensive Toe, who is a mod on the Bleach Soul Resonance Reddit thread, for posting this thread as it goes. We've got about 30 questions here. We probably won't get to all 30. I'm just going to field some that look interesting, some that don't look so much like repeats. So let me go find one. So actually, we start off with an immediately interesting one. So we got, should I build Sajin so I have a team for what sort of events for the worst one of the 2-strike SSR DPS? Blooming Sakura, own setup, hidden wisdom. So I guess we can go to Sajin Komamura really quickly. I did have Sajin a little built because I did get his boundary 1. If you don't have his boundary 1, I wouldn't really worry about it. He's just not good enough. If you don't have his boundary 1, you should just use someone else, maybe even double support. What I would do if I literally did not have his boundary 1, and let's say I couldn't run this team, is I would run something like I mean, God, it's very bad, but probably something like Yoruichi, probably something like Yachiru even, and maybe something like Kisuke. If I did have his S1, then we could talk about like getting him in here, and he's essentially just becomes a technique bot. But that's about it. Let's address the actual like questions. Like, should you build Sajin Komamura? If you've got the resources, why not? But really, it relies on this, and I would say even it relies on this as well, and hopefully having his weapon too, because otherwise his rotations just become way too slow. Or not so much that his rotations become slow that they don't become valuable. So next, I'm not even going to switch back off of the capture, but next it says, is Aizen Byac or double support best for Slash Tower? I know this question is going to be obsolete when White is out. Stuck on 24-3 with B0 Kenny. Also, what is the best 3rd stamp second stat? Best 3 stamp second stat for him. If double support is Kisuke Mayuri or Kisuke Yachiru better, and how do I build Yachiru? I have her at level 80 with upgraded passives and non-nexus hidden wisdom stamps. Does any further invest in help her? Actually, I can answer that one. No. I have yet to finish Slash Tower 25 because it's just a little unattainable at the moment with my Kenpachi, even at B1. But Yachiru does not need investment. This character, without any sort of, I mean, this is my Yachiru, and I would bring her into guild battle, or not into guild battle, into the co-op campaign. I have videos on that. You could probably just search Yachiru in my channel. I still had this running on her, though I definitely probably should have just switched to something like this. It's, the character doesn't really get much better with a bunch of stats. I mean, this is not based on anything. I mean, ult cooldown, I guess. This is not based on anything. This just gives slash. This is not. This is 20%. This is 20%. This is an ult energy. So I guess, like I said, ult charge rate. Slash damage is not based on anything. And this is 10% not based on anything. So the most you'll be getting her is damage and levels, which levels are fine, but because she gives Kenpachi bonuses and she's just such a free-to-play like option, it's not really that important. The most important thing is just having core stamp dupes and stuff. I mean, usually I have a ton of them. Having core stamp dupes and the like. Other than that, is Byac or Aizen better? I would say run. I mean, I was worried you didn't have him because you weren't mentioning him. Just run Mayuri, Kenpachi, and Urahara. That's what I beat with, and I am pretty close pre-White Ichigo to beating the 25th floor of Slash Trial. I have literally been on 2 bars of HP left on this guy and just missed by the thinnest of margins. It's like such a minor amount that I need left. If I think that if I had, what would be the difference? If I had probably dupes in his core stamp, he would be dead. I think so. That is, again, though, I do have boundary 1, which does increase his spiritual attacks by a lot. But yeah, I would use that. If double support, though, Mayuri and Kisuke is enough. I would not worry about running Yachiru, but I did want to cover it. Nexus or anything? I don't think so. I mean, if you're a whale and you want to Nexus everybody, do it. And someone else can correct me, but I just don't. I think Yachiru is literally such a good free-to-play option because you kind of don't. Making a passable Toshido so I don't have to use Kisuke on Spirit Team. Have a second team for when Ulk makes him obsolete. I don't think it'll be obsolete, by the way. I don't think it'll be obsolete. Do I just throw Kenny Stamps on him with crit damage and attack 3 and call it a day? And does someone have a good video on his rotation? I don't have the video, of course. But you want to use World Conqueror, I believe. So if we go to Toshido here, right now, yeah, World Conquest, here you go. You want to use the stamp. It gives you ult damage when you use technique, which is all he's doing. You can get pretty good versions of the stamp, and it's one of those, you're gonna have to farm specifically for him, sadly. You could just use the Kenny stamps if you have them, though. It's not that big a deal. It's just like, I don't worry too much about characters becoming like obsolete. The characters that will become obsolete typically are the free-to-play ones. The limited SSRs will still have a place in the game, but stuff like Byakuya is why, like, if he's not at like B6, then he's essentially just not a character. Like, I have B3 Byakuya, and I'm like, man, this character does not do anything, you know? So a lot of the limited characters still have mechanics that are so good, and I would bank that if you have the resources, building a Toshido will be useful when TYBW Rukia releases, and I think she's coming soon because every Bleach property has released a TYBW Rukia this year. I think like every single one of them promos with TYBW Rukia, so I think our TYBW character might literally just end up being Rukia, and I think I predicted that. So let's go on to another question though. So this is a good question, actually. I mean, it's probably a quick one that I won't have to like, oh, is that a Vanilla Ice X3? Are you a JoJo fan? Where do people usually spend their daily stamina? So I actually want to talk about this, and you can actually already see people talking about it in that thread, but I spend my daily stamina pre-farming for the next banner. Obviously, I have a ton more nourishers because of the monthly. I tend not to spend these until a character comes out, which is why you see I just have a billion of them. That way my account isn't so juiced. Like, I could be like constantly farming gear, and at some point I will chew through quite a few of those to do that, but for now I kind of just save them so that my account isn't like so weird, like so different from the average free-to-play account, so I just stockpile them. But a lot of times what I'm using them on actually is things like con. So I have 5 million right here. It takes a lot of con to raise these characters, more than you think it will. After that, it comes down to pre-farming materials like tactics Omamori. I hate when a new character comes out and I don't have any Omamori for them. I really do, because you cannot raid this event, so you have to fight that event. And the thing I want to be doing, I might have hit my mic there for a second, by the way. The thing I want to be doing when a character comes out is making videos with that character built. So I never really want to have a situation where it's like, oh, now I need to take, you know, 15 minutes or 12 minutes out of my recording time so that I can farm Omamori, so that I can build all their, like, that's this. I mean, I don't need to show this, obviously, you built characters before, but so I can get this, these are so important. After that, so now that I essentially have that done, right? So like, you don't need that many Omamori. But then I go on to like Slash, Essence, and Art of Slash, which are like the skills and ascensions, and then of course the Slashsmith Hammer. And then a lot of it is spent grabbing Head Captain's Insight and Tamahagane. You can see I have 489 Tamahagane, and I have 523 Insight with 286 Golden Insight. I would imagine, and I'm actually just gonna do it, my day today is gonna look like this. Like, genuinely, this is what my like daily is gonna look like here, because you just need so much. You can see I have 553 of the purple XP, but yeah, I have 6,000 stamp ectoplasm. I have this because I hate trying to do core stamp and gearing, and I see this number get low. I think this number, you just need to have as much of it as possible all the time. You can see I have a ton of skill raising materials, and yeah, that's what I do with my stamina. I know a lot of people will probably be like, oh, you know, you could use your stamina on gear, what I'm doing right now is I'm keeping enough stamina to just do the double drops. Obviously, you get 2 free daily attempts. Then I just do the 140 XP, like 40 stamina attempt. And that's really it. If I want to farm gear, typically I'm using gear crafting. I'm not really using like just straight farming, straight sending it on gear farm. But that's just me, of course. You could use it any other way you want. But that is me essentially. So let me go to the next question. Oh, I had to stop here. So out of curiosity, how would someone pick the pacing of core stamp acquisition? Get 1 copy and settle, or try to get enough keys to try farming up all 5 copies on release day. My best team can clear stamp quarter in about 3 to 4 minutes. Yeah, it's that's just life. I would say I've been using a new system. This is not a system, I've talked about it. This is not like oh my god, I've broken the system. I've looked inside my mind's eye and I've figured out the most optimal way. This is just me. This is just what I'm doing. This has no bearing on efficiency or anything. 1, I only go if I have 5 stamps to use. 2, I am saving 50 corridor keys so I can try to get white Ichigos the day he comes out. I will continue to do this on every new banner. And then if I don't hit it in those 50, I will then continue to try and pull the stamp until I get it. The one I missed out on was Zaya Lapido. It just didn't come to be, and I knew we were getting pre-anniversary. I also had like a 50 or 40% current drop rate saved up, and I was like, well, Zael, I love you, but I'd rather just go for Grimmjows because that's like a hype, you know, half Annie character. So, like I said, I'm starting to save over 50. After that, after I get 50, the gloves are off. Recently, during the reset, I could have saved this for White Ichigo, but I didn't. During the reset, I got 2 Mayuri core stamps, which brought me to 5 on his. And I got 1 dupe for Soifon, which is important because it gives her big ult crit damage and a ton of just damage elsewhere. And it brought me to 2 on hers. I'm going to continue with this method, not because I think that this is like the most efficient thing in the world, or I've like, you know, gamed the system in some way, or I've done the math. Really, it's nothing to that effect. It's just once I have about 50, I do think that the dupes for characters is really powerful. So when you see characters like Grimmjow or Soifon or even any of these guys, the dupes are powerful enough that it's sort of the understated jump in power. Like, I have his at 2. I got it randomly doing this method. I think I was actually pulling for Zaya Lapidos and with the excess of 50, and I hit his as well. But I do think that core stamp dupes are really important, but you need to find your comfort for like getting the new character as well. It shouldn't just be I'm going to spend down to 0 every single time, even when new characters come out, you know, etc., etc. I do think that is not good. If I could give any advice, because it just feels bad, right? You're just going to be waiting for so long. With the built-in like hard pity as well, you could be like, well, I'll just save until I could hit hard pity, and it's like, well, you're not going to do that, right? Like, it is what it is. Like, let's be honest. Unless you're like a low spender whale, which you could like, you know, put money in. But I don't really want to go into the shop and always be buying core stamps with my Jade. I'd rather be using those on characters. So that is my suggestion. But like I said, this is not I'm not gaming the system. This isn't like hyper efficient or something. This isn't some, you know, I've broken stamp collecting YouTube title. It's just what I'm doing. So here's another question. I like this question. Actually, I like this question a lot. I just downloaded this game again and lost with what to do. I managed to get Soifon, Grimmjow, and Toshido. I want to know what to be doing daily, like important mode I can't miss out on. Should I pair Grimmjow with Soifon? Yes, by the way. Best. I mean, let me think about my words here. The arguable best sub DPS, DPS and like main DPS pairing in the game. Like, do we think that? I think so. I know a lot of people will think Thrust, but I actually don't think that Nelel and Geen like pair perfectly or anything. I just think they're both really strong and built around like the same mechanics, so they work really well. But in terms of mechanically actually complementing each other, Grimmjow and Soifon are the best complementary pair in the game. If it's okay to skip Soifon's stamp since I want to save out for new things, I would grab the stamp. But let's get into that. I actually want to like switch this because someone did mention like answer them when it came to like pulling and stuff like that. So I actually want to talk about another thing, which is like I see people all the time say that like they don't have rewards, they don't have Jade, they don't have anything, and it's all in here. This is it. You just do it. This is it right here. They tell you how much you can get in total. 700 here, a bunch of tickets here, we've got 500 here, so that goes up to 1200. Jade here, which is like built into this, which is like how much is it in total? 400 Jade in total here. We got Summit Clash, which has upwards of 1,000 here, right? Like, obviously, this is going to be tougher for you to do if you're someone playing... But ooh, we're about to go to Diamond, by the way. Hey, let's get it. This has a ton of rewards here. Progress rewards here. Like, 1,000 in total. We've got 20 here. We've got all of the J that comes out of here. About 300 in total. We had all the J that comes out of here. I don't even think I can like look at it anymore. Yeah, I can't even see it anymore, but done there. And then we have 300 here. That's it. That's what you need to be doing. And then when the weeklies reset, you need to get you need to collect your stamp here. So in 4 days that'll happen. You need to grab your battle rewind stamps there, or your keys, and then you just do this stuff right here. You hit this one. This can now be autoed, which feels great, by the way. Thank you, Bleach Soul Resonance dev team. Deadlock passage resets at the beginning of celebrations or beginning of characters, so we should be getting that in 8 days. Yeah, it says it right there, 8 days, which is big juicy rewards in here as well. You can see all those just pop up. So nice. And these you can finish off at your leisure, but they have a ton of rewards. I still need to complete the final one of these. I'll actually do those maybe at the after I do this video, just to while I'm doing nothing else. These you will probably not be able to do this one. It'll probably just be a little too hard. But this could have been another thing that if you were playing actively, there's 1,000 here. I would imagine this reset. Yeah, it's leaving in 7 days. I could imagine that resetting, which could be huge for your total scores. So try to just get your teams up for that, just in case. Doing your co-op campaign every day, you get 85 from this, right? If you're in a reasonable top, you get like 85 here if you're like going it solo. So I tend to do this solo because I'm lazy, but I have had times where I was in top 100. I've had times when I was in top 20. A lot of times I would call this a free 80 Jade though, or 85 Jade, because it's literally just do the event. I mean, we could look. Yeah, I'm unranked in the team one because I literally did not join a team, and I'm top 8% in the solo, right? So yeah, bunch of different things there that you should just be getting done every day, except for the weeklies, of course, which you do on the week. This video is going a little long. Maybe one more. What do you guys think? One more? Just one more? Let's go one more. So we have our final question of the day here, and that is going to be, I'm a free-to-play player focusing on upgrades on these 6 characters. Currently I have 25,000 Jade. Should I pull for Grimmjow, Resurrection, or Soifon for unlimited gacha right now? Should I wait for White Ichigo and Okieta? For pulling any limited gacha, I have to keep buying tickets. Yeah, this is right. This is how it works. It just, when you click on the button and you don't have enough tickets, it just buys from that stack. That's just how it worked. You can also use the gacha exchange tickets once you start pulling dupes, which helps you get for more tickets. But I'm going to do something that I have not done yet, and I'm going to suggest that you skip Grimmjow. I'm going to go through just really quickly why I believe this. So you don't have any strike right now. You don't have any strike right now. If you wanted my honest, optimal, best opinion, like the best version of the thing you could do, it's reroll. But I'm going to assume you don't want to reroll. And if you don't want to reroll, then we have to talk about the reality here. Grimmjow's leaving, Soifon's leaving, and you have 25,000 Jade. In the coming 3 to 4 weeks, when White Ichigo comes out, so in 1 week when he comes out, and then in the 3 weeks that he'll be around, you're going to get enough to essentially get him and dupe him, because you have 25,000 Jade right now. 25,000 Jade is enough to pity 2 characters, I believe. 2 characters in their stamp, I believe. I believe it's somewhere in that. It's somewhere in that ballpark. White Ichigo will be a tactics character, which means his dupes will probably be very good. Very good. Even if it's only dupe 1. We can go over this real quickly. Aizen's dupe 1 is his best free-to-play low-spending dupe. Soifon's dupe 1 is her best free-to-play dupe. And Nellel is the only special girl. Her dupe 1 is insane. Her dupe 2 is insane. But as you can see, there's a pattern there. The reason I'm going to suggest you skip Soifon is because you have essentially no access to her dupe, which is dupe 1. Dupe 1 is extremely important for making this character feel smooth. And you're gonna if you're very unlucky, if you're like you literally have to go to pity on all of this, then you're at 0 Jade going into White Ichigo. And though I think you'll be able to grab him throughout his event, I do think that it feels worse going into an event and just having to wait. And it becomes something where you can get one character and possibly even their stamp every single celebration pretty consistently in this game, but it's half anniversary and they're doing reruns. So can you get 4 characters in their stamps? I don't know. What I would say is is just plan for the future. What you could do is grab Grimmjow and his stamp, because I don't think that Grimmjow is going to come back anytime soon. That's just my assumption. And the reason I think that is because Nellel is the only major celebration time slot in the entire game as Chinese New Year, and she has literally not returned even once. Not even once has she returned. So if you wanted to do the most like, okay, I just don't want to skip half Annie characters, I would grab Grimmjow and his weapon. You should have enough after that to grab White Ichigo and his weapon, and then maybe a dupe. And then throughout the rest of the celebration, you should almost certainly be able to grab Ulquieta and his weapon. Probably not a dupe unless you get lucky, but I mean, variance is a thing in gacha. You will probably get lucky at least one of these banners. And at that point, you grab Soifon when she reruns. You grab a strike support when they show up. Maybe you just use... I would just maybe use Komamura with Boundary 1 at some point if you get it. Maybe you could use like a Nellel or something, if like, because she does have ailment. Probably not Nellel though, she's too scream dominant, that's the thing. I did do a test with Aizen in Grimmjow when he first came out. You can go back and watch my B0 showcase where I showcase this character with Soifon. I show his damage with Aizen instead of Soifon, and I show his damage with no Mayuri. And I do think it's sort of like, it's one thing you could like take a look at, but most importantly, I would just try not to be too caught up in this, unless you're a really big Grimmjow fan. I mean, he's extremely good. I wouldn't want to miss a half anniversary character personally. I just think that it's kind of, unless you want to reroll, it's kind of over for Soifon. So to recap, you have a week. If you want to do the most optimal thing, this is the final thing I'll say. If you want to do the most optimal thing, you reroll. You get her, you get Grimmjow, you play your account for a full week, you're probably going to have that much Jade built back up going into White Ichigo. If you don't want to do that though, maybe grab Grimmjow and his weapon. Otherwise, save for White Ichigo, grab a dupe of White Ichigo, grab his weapon, probably grab a dupe of Ulquieta when he comes out as well, because you're gonna have so much more Jade saved up. If not, and Ulquieta reruns with Zaya Lapido or reruns with Aizen, that's where I'd get my third character of the celebration and go ahead and pick up a pivotal character like Aizen or Zaya Lapido for team building purposes with Ulquieta. That would be my thing. Because you already have Bankai Ichigo, so if they rerun Kenpachi during the White Ichigo banner, you're just gonna stay with Bankai Ichigo, I think. I don't think you should pick a DPS with the selector and just to get another color of that DPS, right? So I would just grab White Ichigo. They'll probably rerun Kenpachi, don't worry about it. and blah 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 blah. That's essentially it, right? I think I answered that question in as much explicit detail as possible. I do think it's an important one, but yeah, that's me. I'm Lone. Again, thank you for everything you showed out for the last video. That's super impactful for me. Like if you liked the video, subscribe to the club. We all gonna make it, by the way, and peace out.